Hello everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday School for the fall program. How was your summer vacation? Did you get to go somewhere with your parents, like to the cottage, or maybe even for a camping trip? Or did you just stay home this summer? I just came back from a 4-week vacation, and frankly, I am ready to get back to work. We have all sorts of stuff planned for this fall. In addition to these YouTube videos we're doing, we're also going to have Zoom meetings with you guys every other week. And we're going to send you guys packages with coloring supplies and supplies for the activities for those Zoom meetings. So you can look forward to those. At the end of October, we're going to celebrate Halloween together with our Halloween Zoom family event. We're going to play a game show together, so you and your family can play as a team to win points and prizes. So stay tuned for those details. At the end of November, we're also going to have a Christmas celebration over Zoom. Again, you and your family can join us live, interact with us, maybe even show off a couple of your family's hidden talents. It's going to be a great time. So how's it been for you guys going back to school? Have you enjoyed your first week back? Maybe it's a little more complicated than you remember, because schools can only have so many kids at a time in their building, and a lot of classes will be online. I know it's a pain, but this pandemic is gonna end sooner than later, and then we'll get to go back to our normal lives, and I can't wait for that. It's important to remember that even during the pandemic, you guys need to go to school and get a good education. That's why it's important for you to work extra hard now, when things are a little more difficult. Fortunately, we have tons of dedicated teachers in our public education system that are working really hard to keep you guys on top of things. You know, teaching is one of the oldest professions. As long as there have been cities and buildings, there have been schools where kids go to learn important things. And of course, there have always been teachers to teach them those things. In Christianity, we call Jesus our teacher, because when we read his words in the Bible, we learn important things about God and how we should behave to treat one another well and with respect. In Jesus' time, people called him Rabbi. Do you know the word rabbi? This word means teacher. It's actually a Hebrew word. In the Jewish faith, important men who dedicate their lives to learning the scriptures and Jewish history are called rabbis, and it's their job to lead Jewish congregations or synagogues and teach them everything they need to know about their religion. 2,000 years ago, some of the most important rabbis in Israel became priests at the temple in Jerusalem. These chief priests were really important to Israelite society. I wonder if we can learn a little bit more about the chief priests. I wonder if our friend Rachel can tell us something about them. Rachel? Rachel, can you hear me?
Hi, Murray. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Rachel, what can you tell us about the chief priests of Jerusalem?
In Jesus' time, the center of the entire Jewish religion was the temple in Jerusalem. The temple was ran by a group of men called the chief priests. Their job was to do important religious services to honor God. The chief priests were very well educated. They knew all the holy scriptures and the history of the Israelite people by heart. But at the time of Jesus, the priesthood in Jerusalem was in a bad position. Israel was under the rule of the Romans, and the Israelites hated being ruled by them. Some even started their own rebellions to fight back, but the Roman soldiers were cruel, and those rebellions never went well for the Israelites. For the priests at the temple who were trying to keep peace, life was a difficult balance between the Romans who ruled them and the Jews who relied on them.
Wow, thank you so much, Rachel, for that information. You know, guys, Rachel is right. Jesus lived during a very difficult time in Israeli history. The Romans didn't make life easy for the Israelites or for Jewish people. And the chief priests in the temple were extremely nervous about any Jewish rabbis or scholars that they thought could rock the boat and make life even harder for them. Because of this, Jesus' teachings were often looked down on by the other religious authorities of his day. Let's learn a story now about how Jesus encountered some of the chief priests in the temple in Jerusalem.
One day, Jesus and his disciples were at the temple in Jerusalem. Jesus was teaching there, and the people were enthralled by everything that he had to say. But the high priests of the temple, whose job it was to answer people's questions and to say the daily prayers, didn't like what Jesus was doing. They were offended that the people were so captivated by Jesus, because they saw it as a threat to their authority. Since Jesus wasn't one of them, they decided to shut him down.
Hey, who is the man speaking to the crowd?
That's Jesus. He's a great teacher of God's way.
A teacher?
Yes, many of us call him Rabbi, because he knows so much about the scriptures and the prophets.
A rabbi he may be, but that does not give him the power to speak at the temple. Only the high priests may answer questions here. Such ego. Next you'll tell me that he can perform miracles and raise the dead.
Yeah, he can.
Bah! Insanity! We can't let this man throw mud in the face of tradition. Come on, let's put a stop to his teachings. You there! What do you think you're doing speaking to these people? This is the holiest temple on earth. Only the holiest of men are allowed to say anything in the name of God. What gives you the authority to do this?
I'll tell you the source of my authority, but only if you can answer one question for me. Then I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Fine. Ask away.
Before he was taken away and executed, John the Baptist baptized many people and blessed them. So, where did these blessings come from? Were they from heaven, or just made up by people?
Don't answer that.
Why not?
You fool, look around you. Most of these people were baptized by John. If we say now that his blessings were made up, then the people will get angry and we'll have a riot.
We can't say that John's blessing was from heaven. We denounced him as soon as the Romans arrested him. If we go back on that now, Jesus will call us hypocrites. Jesus, I'm afraid that, after due deliberation, intense consideration, and no lack of consternation, we can't answer your question.
Well, in that case, you won't get to find out where my authority comes from.
Later on, Jesus was talking to his followers about the incident.
Wow, Jesus, I've never seen anyone stump the chief priests like that.
Yeah, I can't believe that I actually used to listen to those guys.
Wait a minute. Did I ever say that you shouldn't listen to the scribes and Pharisees?
What? Jesus, those guys hate you. They've already said they want to get rid of you any way they can. Why would you say we should listen to them?
Because the scribes and the Pharisees and the priests know the scriptures through and through. They've dedicated their lives to learning the law of God. So, when they teach you lessons about morality and answer your spiritual questions, they know what they're talking about. Their words are true, and you should take what they say as seriously as if it were Moses talking to you. But whatever you do, don't act like the Pharisees. They think that they're the next best thing to Elijah, but they treat regular people like dirt. When people stumble while trying to be good, the Pharisees condemn them. They're hypocrites who don't think twice about sinning, but condemn other people for the same wrongs that they do.
Jesus knew that being a good teacher doesn't just mean knowing things and telling people what to do. Being a teacher means setting a good example for other people as well. But the chief priests didn't set good examples for others. They weren't forgiving or patient of other people, and they definitely weren't humble. They weren't willing to admit that they may have been wrong denouncing John the Baptist when the Romans arrested him. But they also couldn't say that John the Baptist was a fake because so many people loved him, and they were afraid that people would get angry at them and look down on them. This wasn't the last time that Jesus would clash with the religious authorities in Jerusalem. Later this fall, we're going to learn more stories that recount times that the chief priests and the Pharisees tried to test Jesus, and how Jesus beat them every time.
Here are some story review questions. What do you remember from the video? There were two words that kept appearing during the story: denounce and hypocrite. What do those words mean? Do you know? If not, then maybe your parents know, or maybe you can check in the dictionary. Why were the chief priests stumped by Jesus' question? What did Jesus say to his followers about the religious leaders? Here are some family discussion questions that you can talk to your families about. Do you or anyone in your family know somebody who says one thing but then does another? What do you think about people like that? Being a teacher means setting a good example for people. What do you do to set a good example for your friends and your classmates? Who is your favorite teacher at school? Why is that person your favorite teacher? What is it about them that you like so much? Hey guys, I'm just finishing this video in my office right now. I thought it would be nice to end today's video with a prayer for you guys that you can say going back to school. If you want, you can just read the text on the screen, or you can pray with me. Let's start. At the start of the school year, we are beginning something new. New things can be exciting. New things can be scary. New things can be wonderful, and new things can be confusing. God, you are always with us. You are with us when things are exciting, or scary, or wonderful, or confusing. You are with us every day and all the time. God, please help us to feel your presence with us every day of the school year. Amen.